Greetings there, once again, all your YouTubers and fellow Eternians. It is Eldor here, the Masterversal-Toyhunter. So I got another wee custom video to share with you today. So we have who do we have here? Oh, it's the mechanized battle cat of old Faker, the evil robot of Skeletor. So who are you there, sir?
Hello there, Eldor. It is I, Eldor. Hello, Eldor.
Hello,
No.
Eldor.
Hello, Eldor. Hello, Eldor.
Hello.
No. Hello, Eldor.
Hello.
Yes. I am Eldor, the evil robot, Eldor of Skeletor. I'm here to cause a bit of trouble out there in Eternia for my Lord Skeletor there.
Well, we can't have any of that now, can we? Can't have two of me walking about. Too many people will be confused. Yes, I think Skeletor has far too many robots for my liking. You would think Skeletor would have better things to do with his time. What? Well, this won't do, sir.
Just a second there, while I get ready for my shocking reveal. Make sure you are all sitting down, because the days as you know it will soon be under the control of Skeletor.
Just a moment. These shocking reveals take a bit of time.
Yes, I am the evil robot Eldor of Skeletor.
What? No way!
No way! Look out, Mr. Elvis, dude. That guy looks like he's up to no good. Yeah, totally, Eldor. Kick his butt, man. You know, we would totally like to help you, Eldor, sir, but we're kind of trapped in this plastic prison. Yeah, totally bogus, man. Yeah, we totally had some problems with evil robot us's back in the day. Yeah, man, it was totally bogus and completely heinous. Yeah, we totally got sent to hell by our evil robot us's. Yeah, and then we met Death, and he he helped us get out after we bet him at a few games. Yeah, we totally kicked his ass at those games, didn't we, Ted? Yeah, I know, Bill. So, yeah, we made like good robot us's. Yeah, I remember those two, man. Where have they gone? They were completely non-heinous. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so we had our good robot us's to help us, like, defeat our bad robot us's. Yeah, like, totally. And, maybe, you know, you could make your own good robot you to fight your bad robot you, man. Yeah. That'd be, like, totally radical, man. Yeah, totally most triumphant.
Well, that's, particularly bogus, if you ask me.
So, here we go. Have my old, custom, Dupli-Cat out here for you. So, yes, he's looking rather good and perhaps a little bit worse for wear, I think. So, yes, he looks like he's had a bit of an old scrap there with, old Battle Cat. And then so forth. But yes, this here began its journey in my little customizing project there. As old Panther there. So here he goes. So we got Skeletor all sitting up on top of his saddle there, and he's ready to rush up to fight He-Man on his Battle Cat. So yes, the project began with me buying a spare Panther in the old Eternia marketplace, and we got that home to back to Castle Grayskull to see how we would go about making a custom Dupli-Cat out of the old Panther there. So I guess my first stage was to put in all the battle scarring and exposed areas to add a bit of sculpted or kit-bashed mechanized detail to show through the damaged skin or flesh, if you will. And yes, so that involved using a bit of a hot wood poker iron. You know, you do your little hot wood poking work on a bit of I don't know, what do you call them? The old chopping board for your folks, or just a little bit of wood with a burnt-in picture to hang on your wall, perhaps. So I used the wee hot iron tool there. It had a nice sharp tip on top, and of course you can screw many different tips onto that have different sized or different shaped tips there. So I just kept the standard one that had the more of an angled sharp tip, and I used that to make scrapes on the outer extremities of that Panther. So I went about dragging that, get ourselves a bit more situated properly, so we're not knocking things about and whatnot. There we go. Okay, so we get a bit of a better angle on things, as it were. But yes, I scraped the hot wood poker iron around these areas to make a few deep scratches, and a little bit more, of course, to make some openings there. Of course, this little exposed area was still keeping in with the plastic of the legs or the main body and so forth. Then I just dragged the straighter portion of the tip along just to try and get a bit more flatter and smooth on that more deeper piece. And I just melted a bit of a keyhole shape in there. So that didn't involve much sculpting work, shall we say. So while I was going about doing all that, I at the same time added a few bits of plastic of various things and what have you, and pushed them somehow into these holes. It's always the problem, you see. These toys are quite hard to open up without a bit of fuss and shenanigans, shall we say. So did my best to pop these little pieces in. I did push a little bit of that old tin foil I believe you folks use on Earth there. So I pushed a little tin foil in there to just mount things on, and then I pushed a little bit of milliput in there, and then pushed these plastic pieces in, so while the milliput was sitting to the plastic, it would hold all those in. And if we come about to this side here, we might move the settle around a wee bit so we can have a better look in there. So yes, I did the same here with exposing these certain areas on the side to show a bit of internal robotics, I believe you say, showing through. Again, I used just whatever I could find in the old spare parts box, and so on. A bit of a G.I. Joe mask there, a diver's mask, just in there. The camera will play ball for us, and you can see of that a little hose that came off the mask, so that had some nice hose-like detail on that little bit of tube. So I had that showing, of course. We had some sprue off a plastic kit set, so that went in there, and just all manner of other little greeblies, I think you say, added to that. Bit of a cog mechanism there of some other toy, and but before all that in, I laid in there with tin foil just to mount things outwards, or fill in the hollow cavity there so these would sit okay. And again, I went and pushed put a bit of milliput in there too, just to hold them all in place. And some areas that were sculpted in the milliput, like this little bit here, and this little piece just about there. So it's a milliput sculpting. And on the front foot here, I whittled down a little post, so you may see a picture of that pop up on the side here. So this little post was a bit of a support base to mold the foot, the robotic foot detail. It's having trouble focusing. Here we are. So rather than just attempt to plonk on a bit of a sculpt onto the leg, I thought having a bit of a post with a wee bit of a foot stump would help to make a more solid a sculpted piece to have attached to the leg, rather than sculpting this separately and gluing it on. So yes, using that hot wood poker, I was able to make strikes up the leg there to make it look like it had been all scratched off and what have you. So there's a little look. That whole robotic foot there. So that was all sculpted in the milliput. And thought I'd get some little scratches in the milliput there to make it look like they get connected with old Battle Cat's claws and such. So some little scrapes in the metal. And moving on to the chest there, we have some exposed area going on. So that was all milliput sculpted there. After I melted a big hole there with that wood poker iron and added some scrapes and scratches over various areas and painted some little bit of a matte a magenta or pink there for the flesh. I ran out of the old gloss red that dries a shiny glossy red colour for the more blood effect. So yeah, sadly I thought I had a little bit left there, but it all dried up. So pays to get the old lids on there properly, I think. And here's another bit of milliput sculpting in this little exposed area of the front leg. Again, a little bit of a hole melted in, although this part of the legs are more solid than the upper portions there. Oh, there's that. And here's the back leg. Again, on the left side. So we have a bit of exposed toe there. So yes, as you can see here, that was all sculpted in with the milliput after melting away most of that portion of the back leg. So that went fairly well, I feel. And moving along there, we have the tail, which has had a few scrapes too. You can see the exposed segments of the robotic tail showing through there. And although the original tail stopped about here, but I melted a little bit back and then sculpted this portion of the robotic tail onto the very tip of that. And yes, we have a few more little scrapes here and there. And on the right front leg. And just a couple there towards the back left leg. And I thought I would give a bit of battle damage to the saddle there. Have a bit of a scraped metal look. Roughly trying to keep in with where the damage is on the cat there, of course. And a little bit of paint wear, showing some metal there. A couple of more scrapes melted in with the hot wood poker iron. There's a few there too. little bit on this side, and a little bit more here, with this more of a vicious opening there in the side. And yes, once I'd finished with everything, really, I did a little bit of a wash there with a bit of a black acrylic, watered down quite heavily, and brushed that on in some areas. And sometimes I use a bit of a tissue, or I believe you say a cotton wool bud, just dabbing here and there, just to take the brashness down of the black and what have you. So I did that wash. Not sure how well it's showing up on the camera there, but did that whole dirty wash over the certain areas of the Battle Cat, mainly where you would probably expect a beastie to get dirty and whatnot after it's been a bit of a rough and tumble or a scrap there. But yes, I think we'll touch on the main aspect here of the custom Dupli-Cat. So I went about designing myself a little bit of a robot look for Dupli-Cat here. So there might be a little photo pop up there soon. Okay, there it is. So there's a little design I came up with just quickly after tracing a picture of a panther that I found on the Great Eye of the Universe. So I went about doing that. So when I was ready, before I had sculpted all this in and melted the head away, of course, I covered just half of the head with masking tape, so I could draw out the rough design I had come up with over top of that masking tape there. And so once I had covered the side of the face in that masking tape, I drew that rough design I had come up with all over the side of the head there. And then I took out my milliput, of course, because the masking tape would also double as a bit of a separator from the plastic, because I didn't want the milliput to stick to the head of Panther there. So that helped me to remove the milliput sculpt later on. So yes, I kept within the lines and so forth of the design when I was sculpting in the milliput. It was had a little bit of element of difficulty, but we pulled through all right, I feel. So once I had come up with that rough design, I let that sit for a wee bit there till it got dry, so you can see a little bit of how it looked in the corner there. So yes, after I let that dry, I took it to the kitchen, the Eternia kitchen sink there, and ran under a little bit of water for a while, and just gently levering it up with a little small levering tool. I was able to gradually get the water soaking into the sticky part of the masking tape. I was able to pull that off, but I made sure I made a nice thick sculpting there, because depending on how thin you make the milliput there, it can be quite a little bit brittle, and it may break on you. So that's one thing I made sure to do there. And so we got that off, and then I cleaned it up somewhat, and then we began melting away into that side of the face there with that hot wood poker, and just melted a decent sized hole, and just each time testing this milliput sculpted piece as I went to make sure I could fit it inside properly. And I backed up some of the plastic there, like it had been partially peeled to one side. of the head. So once that was done, I had the idea of why not putting a bit of a light in there, in the eye. So that was a bit of work. So we'll remove Dupli-Cat's saddle there, and moving on. Here we have, looking down at the back there, and I had to melt a bit of a hole to put this battery pack here, a little cheapy fairy light set that I got from the planet Earth there. So yes, had to melt a big hole. Of course, there was inside here, there was all these, you know, tubes and what have you, giving extra support to hold the body together and what have you. And so I had to melt a little bit up here too, till I came to a bit of a stop, and that was a alcove for this portion of the neck to move in. So I had to be careful, really. You can see the wire move there a little bit. I had to melt a careful hole through that wall till I came to the wall of this piece. Then I was melting a little hole through there also. Oh, by Jove, that was a bit of tense work, because of course I wanted to keep a bit of the old articulation there in the neck, and because I had melted a hole through the head there, I was able to access the front of the neck piece and melt a hole through there. So once I'd done that, of course, it allowed me to poke the wire, and you can trim these LEDs down too, or these little seed lights here, I think you say. So I trimmed that down because I had about, I think I had about 10 or 20 of those lights on it, on the string, or the wire, rather, and poked that through the hole, which was a little bit hard, because I was mostly guessing where the direction was at this point, but we managed to get it through there. And then got the LED coming out through the eye. Oh yes, I forgot to mention, before I set all this in place, I was going to have to add some detail into these sort of inner hole areas there and there, of course. So I did all that after the eye was all set in place and the LED, and of course this faceplate was all mounted in there. So I covered the eye with a little bit of a, you know, those craft googly eyes you put on little soft ball, fuzzy balls. I see you humans like to do from time to time and sell in your little craft sales. So I got a set of those, and a little bit of a red cellophane, because I didn't quite get the right colour here. I should have got a red fairy light pack. So I used a little bit of the red cellophane that I got from Earth. I believe you humans like to wrap your flowers up in that stuff, and or little gift baskets or what have you. So yes, how about we try that out? But before we do, yes. So after all that was set in place, I went with some milliput, and we sculpted some fur, just overlapping the top, a little bit up here, and sculpted a little bit around the chops, and just had to paint the nose a bit black there, because I had put some milliput sculpting around the nose for the red fleshy sections. And yes, so after that was all finished, I did a bit of a black coat first over it all, and then used that dry brushing technique to brush on the metal colours. And yes, then went around painting it all in the blue colour. So I was lucky to match the colour up with all Faker here. So it's a bit of a fluke, I think. So yes, I didn't do too badly with matching that blue up there. Of course, it's a bit dirty looking on the old Dupli-Cat now because of that black wash I did. Oh, Faker's running out of power there in the background. Oh, okay. So yes, I painted the blue, then went around copying with the stripes as it was on the Battle Cat here. So I had taken the helmet off and the saddle off Battle Cat there to copy as much of the striping as I could. But I added a little bit more striping here and there. So there's a little bit added up the top and down the sides because normally there was it was a little bit fewer in striping on the Battle Cat. And of course I added the extra striping here towards the back. I know you don't see it very much because of the saddle and all. I thought I might add a bit of striping down the tail as well. Because, you know, why not? There's all the striping there. But yes, one thing, when I was setting in the lighting, I had to make sure that I could still move the head with that wire in there, so it had a little bit of a slack, which you just test about before you, of course, set things in place. So we'd have a bit of movement there. But now, okay, let's test that light out, shall we? Oh, so there's a wee switch there for the battery pack. And it takes those two round, thin cell-like batteries of the bigger sort. Okay, we have a bit of an indication there, so we've got power. So, I'm not sure how well that's going to show up in the current lighting situation I have here. You can see a little bit of the red eye. So we might put the saddle on, see how that all looks. It's a bit loose there. So yes, you can see when I move the head around, we still have power there, reaching to the LED light in that eye. Oh yes, I forgot to mention I did a little melting away of the bottom jaw there, and yes, I melted that away with that hot wood poker iron, and there's a little bit of a mechanism for that jaw articulation, so I decided to keep that as a bit of painted that as a bit of exposed robotic mechanism and what have you. So I had to be very careful when melting around the edge to keep the jaw articulation going. And then sculpted this piece in the milliput. And I added a little bit of silver paint to the teeth in some parts, just to look like a bit of worn white paint of the teeth. I think we might secure that settle because we don't want old Faker going for a bit of a spill there. So we'll try and get that on as best we can. There we go, we're all fastened. But of course, when painting the body, I've unfortunately lost most of the articulation in the legs because the joint is almost quite tight to this part of the leg. I've since learnt
with getting into the old Mythic Legions line you have going on there on Earth, which I'll touch on at a later date. I was watching one of the main people on the old YouTube, learning all about that, and he mentioned how some use a bit of a Dremel tool or a sandpaper, or maybe a small file to file some of the plastic away, to thus reduce the contact with other plastic parts that might scrape the paint around. So, I suppose you could still do that, really. Just means I might touch up with a bit of paint later. But no, as it is, all I can really do is use the old swivel portions and the same with the tail there at the wee joint on up the top. Okay, so we'll get old Faker in here, the evil robot of Skeletor. Yes, Skeletor's never without his robots and what have you. I suppose he gets a lot of that from Hordak. What do you think? So let us center things a bit better here. Okay, so here we have got the walls falling down, and the walls fell. There we have old He-Man, his Battle Cat there. We got Faker with Dupli-Cat. He's giving me a bit of a growl and looking about and what have you. And here's old Skeletor here on Panther. So yes, you can see how those look together. Bit of a set going on. Of course, I was unlucky to get the exclusive Faker. I believe it was the Leo Faker and Battle Cat 2-pack. Never mind. We have one now, at least. So yes, there's those fellows. For a bit of a look. We have a bit of a set malfunction going on in the background there. The tails are getting in the road. See if we can... Oh no, it's going to fall down completely. So we'll set our land formation up as best we can. I might do a wee video on those terrain pieces too. Talk about those for a little bit. What do you reckon? So, there's a bit of a side-on parade going on there of the boys and their battle cats, or various mounts. Rather. So yes, it's very, very good there. So I hope you enjoyed this little video, and don't forget to let me know what you think. Have you? Let me know if you have made your own battle cat. I mean, Dupli-Cat rather. It gets a bit confusing here with all these different names with different cats. So yes, let me know if you have done your own, or if you brought the 2-pack there. You were lucky enough to come by that set. And yes, do you think we might get a bit of a Panther in the Revelation series in the next couple of waves? And maybe a Revelation Dupli-Cat. Whoa. Do you think we might see Faker back in Revelation there? And have him on his Battle Cat? As you know, they usually do a little bit of a promotional before they bring out with the toys sometimes. So it'd be good if we got a Masterversal-Toyhunter next, I think. It would look pretty good. Because, you know, they did a little bit of the exposure of the robotic body on the Revelation Masterverse Faker we got there a little while ago. And whatnot. But yes, I suppose anything's possible there
we may even see a battle line for King Grayskull. A lot of you, I know, missed out on him. I did, unfortunately. I was hoping to get myself the Revelation King Grayskull there, but no, it ended up as a bit of an exclusive. And I was like, oh, bother these exclusives. But yes, especially living all the way out here in Eternia, it's hard to get most things when you're a little bit low on the gold, which we have to be careful about. No doubt on your planet too, with the old finances there. So yes, again, hit the we like there to help me get my adventures out and about in the universe there, and subscribe if you haven't, so you'll always be kept up to date whenever I'm on the Great Eye of the Universe, of course. And to help out with that, just give the little bell there a ding, and select all notifications, so you get all these interesting videos. So yes, I do hope you do find them interesting, of course. But no, if you don't, that's fine. But yes, as we say here in Eternia, until next time, and good journey, everybody. Cheerio.